Peter Thiel is totally gay, people.
Most billionaires would scream. Most would call their PR team and beg for a retraction. But Peter Thiel, he just sat there in the silence. In San Francisco, being gay is a lifestyle. But when you have conservative investors in Saudi Arabia, it's a liability. This wasn't just gossip. It was a tactical nuke aimed directly at his bank account. They cared about clicks. Nick Denton, the owner, bragged he had no soul. He treated tech founders like NPCs in a video game, targets to be destroyed for ad revenue. He thought the First Amendment was a license to kill. Denton made one fatal calculation error. He thought he was bullying just another awkward nerd. He didn't realize he was declaring war on a grandmaster. Thiel didn't want an apology. He didn't want a settlement. He wanted an execution. He decided, right then and there, he wouldn't just sue Gawker. He would delete them. Revenge is usually messy. But for Peter Thiel, revenge was a venture capital investment. He dedicated $10 million to a secret fund with a single objective: the total destruction of Gawker Media. He knew a direct lawsuit would backfire. The public would see a billionaire tyrant crushing the free press. He needed to remain invisible. He needed a proxy. So he built a secret weapon. He hired a team of lawyers solely to hunt for victims. They weren't defending him, they were headhunters. Their mission was to scour the country for anyone ruined by Gawker's reckless reporting. For 5 years, this shadow team operated in total secrecy. They monitored every article, every blog post, every insult. They were looking for the perfect client A, someone famous, someone with nothing left to lose. Thiel waited patiently. He watched from the shadows as Gawker grew more arrogant. He needed them to make one fatal mistake. And in 2012, they walked right into his trap. They published a sex tape of Hulk Hogan. It was filmed without his consent, inside his best friend's house. Gawker didn't see a human being in pain. They saw viral traffic. When Hogan begged them to take it down, they laughed. Nick Denton famously said the invasion of privacy was the cost of celebrity. Their editor-in-chief joked in a deposition that he would only remove a sex tape if it involved a child. That arrogance was their death warrant. Thiel saw his opening. Hogan was humiliated and completely broke. He was ready to settle for pennies. So Thiel stepped in. He secretly funneled millions to fund Hogan's lawsuit. He hired the deadliest lawyers in Florida. And here is the genius part. Thiel's lawyers instructed Hogan to drop the claim for negligence. Why? Because Gawker's insurance policy only covered negligence. By dropping that claim, they ensured the insurance company wouldn't pay a dime. They were going after Nick Denton's personal bank account. They were going for the kill. Gawker walked into court thinking they were fighting a washed-up wrestler. They had no idea they were fighting the limitless bank account of a PayPal founder. The trial was a bloodbath. Gawker tried to argue newsworthiness, but the jury in Florida was not the media elite of New York. They looked at Gawker and saw a bully. They looked at Hogan and saw a victim. When the verdict dropped, the room went dead silent. $140 million. It was a kill shot. Nick Denton turned pale. The company didn't have the money. Gawker filed for bankruptcy. The servers went dark. The archives were scrubbed. The employees were fired. Thiel did the impossible. He executed a media company from the shadows, and nobody saw the gun until it was too late. When the truth leaked that Thiel was the money behind the lawsuit, the media elite screamed. They called him a monster. They called him a vampire. Thiel didn't care. He proved a terrifying point. If you cross the new tech oligarchs, you don't just lose a lawsuit, you cease to exist. Standing over the corpse of Gawker, Thiel realized something profound. Money can do more than destroy companies. It can build ideologies. He exposed the media establishment as paper tigers. They were weak. He realized the liberal consensus could be defeated if you fought dirty. If he could destroy the old guard of media, he could build a new guard of politics. The Gawker lawsuit gave him a taste for shaping history. He was done being just an investor. He wanted to be a kingmaker, but not a kingmaker in the traditional sense. He wanted to be the architect of a new American right. However, he knew he couldn't run for office himself. He was too controversial. He preferred the shadows. He needed a face. He needed an avatar. He needed an apprentice, someone who shared his cynical view of American decline, someone who understood that the universities and the government were rotting from the inside. He didn't want a typical politician. He wanted a fighter. He found him at Yale Law School. His name was J.D. Vance. You might know him as the hillbilly turned vice president, but back then, Vance was an outsider, a rough kid from the Rust Belt surrounded by liberal elites. Thiel saw potential in that anger. He saw a raw weapon that could be sharpened. He realized Vance was just like Hulk Hogan, a man with a grievance, a man he could use. While secretly destroying Gawker, Thiel publicly mentored Vance. He hired him at his venture firm. He brought him into the inner circle of Silicon Valley. He taught him the most important lesson of the Gawker saga. Power isn't about playing by the rules. Power is about rewriting them. When Vance wrote Hillbilly Elegy, Thiel saw the political utility in it. He saw that Vance could be the voice of the forgotten working class. So when Vance ran for Senate in Ohio, Thiel didn't just give an endorsement, he gave him a war chest. Vance was losing in the polls. The establishment hated him. So Thiel wrote a check, $10 million, the exact same amount he spent to destroy Gawker. Do you see the pattern? Hulk Hogan was the weapon to destroy a media company. J.D. Vance is the weapon to control the White House. The method is identical. Find a proxy, fund them, win from the shadows. It was the largest donation to a single Senate candidate in history at that time. It completely flipped the race. Vance won. And the man who was once just a venture capitalist student became a U.S. senator. The destruction of Gawker was a live fire exercise. Thiel learned that with precise, overwhelming force, you can alter reality. He silenced a media empire that screamed at him, and he amplified a voice that spoke for him. J.D. Vance is the spiritual successor to the Gawker lawsuit. One was an act of destruction. The other was an act of creation. Both born from the same checkbook. Thiel destroyed the media elite to make way for a new political elite. Thiel proved that with enough money, you don't just defeat your enemies, you delete them. He proved he could execute his enemies from the shadows, but he also proved he could gain unimaginable influence the same way. His greatest weapon is no longer a lawsuit, but his apprentice, J.D. Vance. To see exactly how he plans to rule the future through him, click this video right here. So, is Thiel a hero or a villain? Let me know in the comments. Before you go, if you found this insight valuable, stick around for a moment. In a world where algorithms dictate reality and power shifts in the shadows, staying informed isn't just a choice, it's survival. At Technopolitics, we strip away the layers of global surveillance, AI manipulation, and the hidden agendas shaping our future. Explore our other investigations on screen now and subscribe to decode the systems that rule us. Thank you for watching.